Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, help you understand best practice, big picture, and of course, what might happen next with this bad boy, because it's doing some interesting things, but it's still holding within its trend line, as well as the fact that we're kind of range bound for the moment. So while we haven't seen a significant increase, we've seen multiple attempts at a specific level, telling us we could actually see further upside. There's also potential too as well, keep this in mind, for the price to go down because we have a lot of resistance above the current price point. So I wouldn't get too ahead of yourselves and go long on a bunch of stuff. Feel free to dollar cost average on the way down if the price continues lower, but at least you get some skin in the game, right? That's the whole point, to make sure that you have a good sound investment, because once again, trading can be gambling if you're doing it wrong, but if you're doing it right, it's actually a form of investing. And it's important to avoid emotion and to make sure that you can kind of exclude yourself from the connection to winning and losing, because again, for the most part, it's just a business, and that's how you want to look at it, right? So that being said, if you want to become a better business person, feel free to join me. CryptoCash.tech is the website here. It looks a little bit like this, and what it is a really a good opportunity rather, for you to be able to become a better trader. I've got Crypto Cash signals, I've got a trading community and academy as well, a lot of excellent features. And why don't we go ahead and take a quick look at our Discord too, just so you can kind of see exactly what people are doing right now, because we got some awesome, amazing traders, and I'm super, super proud of them. So take a look here, of course, with our trade results. We can see, look at this, a short position here, 416% for Agold. Alexander killing it as per usual. We've got tremendous amount of other opportunities here as well with K71. Look at this, nice GMT long at 181%, and a long for Kava as well at 175. I like that K71 picks out those unique little coins. That really helps find some good opportunities. There's a lot of money to be made out there, of course. There's also a lot of money to be lost too, so please, please, please use low position size, low leverage. I was working with my admin here recently. We're looking at some traders that we have, and for the most part, they're all fairly successful because they're using my trading strategy. But those who use half their position size per trade are getting hammered. Okay, so again, it's all about survival. Yes, you hear stories about people thriving in this market, and it definitely can happen. You can thrive if you survive, right? That's the key, okay? So keep that in mind. That's kind of where we're at. And if you take a quick look here at our signals, we can see that we took 17% from Bitcoin in 9 hours with a long position yesterday. And the same thing can be said as well for Chiliz. We took 30% in 1 hour. So really awesome stuff there. Again, keep up the great work, community members. And once again, if you want to be part of something bigger, I have an affiliation with BitGet, Bybit, as well as MEXC Global. They all have significant benefits. Check that out on our website. Of course, have links in the description too as well for that. So with Bitcoin, what we want to know is a couple of things. First of all, I've kind of reiterated a few times, I'll just go ahead and summarize right now, that on the larger time frames, we're underneath some key level resistances. The 200-day set moving average, for example, on the weekly, the 50-day SMA on the weekly, we're holding below that. They just had a convergence on the MACD as well, though, and we could potentially see some shift in momentum. The long story short there is that we have a lot of resistance between 25 and 26,000. You can check out my previous videos if you're curious about what that entails. I'll spare you the details for now because I've kind of driven that home for a few weeks now, but generally speaking, resistance at 25 to 26K. Right now, at this current point, what we want to go ahead and look at is kind of the daily and work our way down, because it's more about the micro movements right now, or the midterms, so to speak, that helps us understand what's going to happen next, not necessarily the large time frame, because we know what's going on in the big picture. When we look at the daily, we can see we keep retesting 70 or very, very close to it on the RSI. That tells us that at this point, with the increase in volume, as well as the increase in RSI, we have that little plateau. The likelihood of breaking through that level is fairly high. Again, you retest certain levels consistently, you'll see likely a breakthrough. Okay, because again, a lot of people are asking too, hey, well, we tested this level here multiple times and it got rejected, right? Well, that's true, and we're retesting this multiple times, it could come down. The probability of it going up is due to the fact that we have these key level resistances here. We don't have a significant increase in price leading into it. While we had this one nice green day, that's not half as impactful as this previous pattern, okay? So the fact that we're here tells me that we're likely to see an increase. We're also seeing an increase here as well, where the price action will not get lower than this ascending trend. I'll look at that in the smaller time frame so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, but trend lines have a tendency of repeating themselves. And in most cases, when you stay above a trend, it'll continue in that same direction, okay? Again, they continue until they don't, and I know that seems kind of funny and redundant, but generally speaking, we want to respect the fact that we're on an ascending trend right now until it chooses otherwise. and we close below that, we can expect it to continue to increase. That being said, we also have a MACD convergence here as well. We are losing some momentum, of course, that's normal when you plateau out at specific levels. So in truth, we're not in great shape, but we're much better still, I feel, than not. And let me talk about this here really quick, just to quickly give perspective here on these moving averages. So first of all, 20-day simple moving average, see how it's kind of working itself up here? That's going to give us an ascending type of trend. So if you stay above the 20-day SMA on the daily, you're in pretty good shape most cases. Right? I love the 20-day SMA on the daily. It really helps us understand if we're on an ascending or descending trend. The fact that we dipped down here is no big deal. We got right back above it, and now we're continuing upwards. Okay, so again, this ascending trend is working well. The trend is your friend, right? Therefore, a long position seems to be much more viable than a short position at this moment based on that sentiment. Now, do you take a trade based on one thing? Definitely not, but that is a consideration right here. So a lot of complementing factors on the daily. We've also acknowledged that we've had a golden cross previously here, implying that we're above two key level of supports, which is the 50 and the 200-day SMA. Okay, so again, this 50 will continue to work itself up. As long as we stay above the 50, I'm going to be content with Bitcoin continuing to progress higher. We may not see that tested for a few days, a few weeks, or ever, at least in the foreseeable future, but those are really good signs, okay? So that coupled with RSI retesting at 70, with us having an ascending type of trend here, likely a potential bull pendant pattern forming to the upside, or at least a ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it, it's looking more positive than negative, all right? So again, that's what the daily is telling us. How's the 4 hour shaping up here? Well, we are making higher lows. Even though we're not making higher highs, we are effectively making higher lows. Super important, okay? That really helps us understand we're on the right side of the tracks and we're moving in the right direction. Okay, so again, to me, anytime you want to see a trend reversal, you want to see starting with higher lows. Okay, so a bullish trend reversal is higher lows, and of course, with what's plateauing out here, that's perfectly fine. Just tells us that resistance level, while it's strong, is potentially going to be broken more so than the price continuing lower. Once again, that's just some patterns that you want to think about. Taking a look here as well, we can see 50 on the RSI keeps bouncing at this point, so that's obviously a strong support level. Okay, money flow index is telling us that we have a decrease in volume here, which makes sense. As the price gets closer to the increase there, the actual resistance becomes weaker. Okay, so we want to see more volume getting into that level, but on the same accord, it makes sense that the price being kind of going sideways here for some time, we're going to have less money flowing into the market. Okay. So on average, though, when you see the money flow index come down, it'll bounce off of 30 in most cases. Take a look at the MACD here. We can see that we had basically a bearish divergence here where it kind of bounced essentially off that line. In truth, though, we have momentum moving down, so this kind of does tell us that we're losing momentum to the upside, which makes sense considering the circumstances. But generally speaking, when we look at everything else, there's mostly positive here as well. Again, the 50-day SMA working its way up, concurrent with that trend line. We can see this trend line is touching all these higher low points. We're still in pretty good shape. So once again, I'm looking for a closure today to continue the trend higher. Ultimately, we want to get a closure above 25,000. We can't expect that right away, but if we get that, I think we'll be in pretty decent shape to be able to see further upwards from here. Now, keep in mind, I touched on this yesterday. We have a Fibonacci retracement level right at 26,000. This one here is something we want to watch out for. It's a 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level. That does carry a lot of weight. So just so we break 25K does not imply we're just going to shoot straight to 28. I think we'll see some range-bound activity, perhaps in the 25 to 26 mark. That's likely the next step if we leg up again, okay? Keyword is if. We don't really know what's going to happen. It's honestly a flip of a coin. But for the most part, if you take that coin flip out of the equation, you can expect the price to continue higher in the overall sense of things based on the daily and the larger time frames. But we have to respect the fact that we're not going to break 26,000 in the immediate future. That's just my sentiment, my guess, based on a lot of moving averages kind of hanging out there for a little while. Okay, so we just got some time to be able to be range bound here. It'd actually be just fine if we range bound between 24 and 26. We can do some nice range trades and essentially just keep taking some profits along the way. That being said, let's take a look at the hourly and call it a day here. We take a look at the Ichimoku cloud. As per usual, when we are range bound, it's giving us a lot of false positives, not the most consistent indicator for the moment. Okay, so we can't really rule that in. And if we look at TD sequential, while we came down to a 9 here, we get in this bounce, it doesn't mean it's not going to continue lower, right? So we got to expect that this could establish lower lows and lower highs. If it does, we need to kind of shift gears and consider a different direction. But for now, we're still making higher lows in the larger time frame and essentially still plateauing out at 25K. So to me, this is just a typical wedge pattern that's forming that usually breaks to the upside and for the most part, there's no reason for it not to continue higher. But again, when you look at liquidity, which I'm working with High Block Capital actually right now, trying to articulate some details in a partnership. We're going to be able to take a look at that as well. And I've looked at that. There's a lot of shorts leveraged right there at the 25,002, 25,005 mark. Okay, so if the price does break 25K, we will likely see a short squeeze as a push to 26. But there's also a lot of positions leveraged there as well. Okay, so again, that's soon to come here. Going to provide that to my community, but generally speaking, we're looking really good here in this sense of the hourly being kind of pushed all the way down to a 9. We should likely see a push to the upside as a result of that. So hypothetically, we've got another 5 to 9 hours of continuation to the upside. The very last thing we want to look at, though, of course, and you need to recognize this too, is the traditional markets are down. Okay, they're moving down pretty consistently here, but you got to keep in mind they're moving towards a support level. Okay, right here at 0.382, that's a very strong support in most cases. We can see right there at 12,100, the price should essentially either bounce or stop at that level. Okay, so that's a nice support level for traditional markets. What that means for Bitcoin is if traditional markets bounce, we should see Bitcoin recover as well and continue upwards. So it's perfect timing for us to be coming into this nice support level for traditional markets, and of course, a potential breakthrough of strong resistance here. So Bitcoin's pushing up while traditional markets are pushing down. We should get that bounce on traditional markets and likely carry that over to Bitcoin, giving us a break through 25K. That's the anticipation, okay? Again, no guarantees on that, but I think that for the most part, we're looking pretty good here once again for further upside here, or at the very least, range-bound activity between 24 and 25, all right? So again, that's just generally what the charts are telling us. A lot of other things that could factor in here, but once again, I think we have slightly more favorability towards the upside. Hopefully that makes sense for you and I was able to describe that correctly. If so, comment below, let me know. If not, that's cool too. Feel free to become a community member, cryptocash.tech. We're offering a free trial here for 1 week on our signals in case you want to kind of see what that looks like and obviously take part in that because signals have been pretty good, albeit less consistent as you would see in a bull market. You just cannot get greedy, right? Again, the way to be able to preserve your account is to not take too large a position size trades and of course to take less trades less often. All right, again, that's just me personally. I'm a patient person. If you're not, good luck to you. I hope it works well for you. Maybe consider day trading. Day trading is more effective in that regard. But again, I've seen a lot of day traders get wrecked based on poor risk management. Those are all things I work with you on my trading academy. Check that out as well. Thanks again for your time. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.